Hello everybody. Good evening or good afternoon wherever you're at. Najumu here. Welcome. Once again, we are back after a week off. We're back with some more TYRION CUTHBERT, Attorney of the Arcane. And to be more specific, we got the final case, which is, a title drop, Attorney of the Arcane. So, a little bit of a recap on what happened last time. So, Beatrice basically summoned her own demon familiar in order to be a part of murdering her own father. But that is not the most important thing that happened. The more important thing that happened is Eris, who is definitely nowhere near as human as you'd expect her to be, managed to fill Tyrion's head with a lot of doubt and thoughts about Ruby and how she is basically not what she's supposed to be. Like all the rumors, all the things that people told about her, about using underhanded tricks in order to get in order to win her cases. And yeah, it really actually got to him pretty bad. So now we're gonna see if his relationship with Ruby will ever be mended or not. And fortunately, he still does believe in Celeste. And yeah, hopefully these two will actually power through and manage to stop Eris or whoever is the actual creature that probably possessed Eris's body would be. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Also, let's look at the chat. Hello, Rayquaza. Welcome. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well today. So yeah, we might as well start the case, shall we? Alright, we'll start at episode 5. Oh, what is this? I've killed people. They were usually criminals or bandits. But it still frightened me how unaffected I was by their deaths. It always came so easily to me. I was good at it. A little too good. People told me that taking the lives of others would be hard. But I never felt that uneasiness. Not even once. It made me think I was some kind of unfeeling monster. And maybe I am. But the time I spent with you filled me with more happiness than I could have ever dreamed of. Instead of taking lives, I could save them alongside you. It felt good to protect you. It felt needed when I knew you were relying on me. It made me feel like I was actually worth something to someone. Wait, is that Celeste? That's probably Celeste, but yeah, I'm thinking that this is Celeste. Definitely sounds like her, but we'll just continue reading it normally. And whenever I saw the light in your eyes, it filled my heart with a warm feeling that I'd never felt before. But it was too good to be true, wasn't it? In the end, I failed you. I couldn't protect you, just like I couldn't protect my father. I don't understand. What did you ever see in someone like me? Yeah, this is definitely Celeste. Alright, we're going to bring the Scottish accent back. Don't worry. Alright, episode 5, Attorney of the Arcane. Tyrion? I still haven't gotten out of bed yet. It's almost noon. I think I just want to rest today. I've been saying that for the last 10 days. Someone is actually here to see you. You should really get out of bed. Is it Tamora? No. still not really in the mood. Can you just send them away? That's a bit rude, but I suppose I can overlook it this time. Steel win? Oh, looks like she recovered. As the prosecutor enters your room, you immediately leap out of your bed. You try to futilely clean your unkempt hair. You're just making it worse. Tyrion, pants. Right, sorry. We'll give you some time to ready yourself. I knew he was in a rut, but I certainly didn't expect this. I know, I'm really worried about him. I empathize with his situation, but it's been a month already. You tried speaking with him? He has opened up to you before. I did, but I think he's really broken up over what happened with Ruby. She's basically the closest thing he had to family. See, perhaps he just needs more time. After taking some time to make yourself presentable, you exit your room to greet the prosecutor properly. Sorry about that. No, I suppose the fault is mine. I shouldn't have intruded. Anyways, what brings you here? Let's talk. Are you doing well, Mr. Cuthbert? You seem... I'm fine. Of course. I just couldn't help but notice your absence. You haven't taken any other clients since Beatrice's trial. I'm going to be honest. I'm not even sure if I want to be a defense attorney anymore. What? I've spent my whole life training to be one. I was only doing it because someone else told me to. Did you not enjoy it? You are very skilled at it. I don't know. I've been trying to take some time to think about everything. You still haven't found any answers. Have you considered becoming a prosecutor? Your time as my stand-in made it clear that you have the ability to. Prosecutor. Would have never even considered that a year ago. But you understand now, there are criminals who need to be brought to justice. Despite how difficult she is to face, Steelwind never engages in outright corruption like the other prosecutors of the Crown. You follow her example, you'd fight injustice that way. But even if you did, you'd be just following someone else's footsteps, just like before. I'll think about it. Please do. At this point, I could use all the help I can find. Have your injuries been healing well? Yes, Nightgrave's skill in necromancy is quite remarkable. Glad I introduced him to House Aselpius. Aselpius? That's a weird name. Aselpius? Oh, it's Asclepius. Oh, Asclepius. Okay. Yeah, some of these names are a little bit weird. House Asclepius specializes in the study of necromancy. After Nightgrave's expulsion from the academy, thought it was only right he'd be allowed to continue his studies. Right. He mentioned that he owed you a favor. It was only logical. It would be a waste to let someone of his talents fade into obscurity. You're glad Wallace was able to continue his studies. He clearly wants to use his talents to better society. He's definitely in a better place than you are right now. Even so, should you still be moving around like this? It should take some time off to recover. As much as I would like to, there's been a recent uptick in cases of mage blight lately. Mage blight? I recall hearing about that many times. The mage exceeds their stamina by overusing their magic. It starts to affect their mind and send them into a violent frenzy. Ooh. Okay. That's interesting. So, if you actually overuse your magic, you go into this kind of feral state where your mind loses its control. To make matters worse, the nobility has been trying to suppress information about these incidents. Right. It's not a good look whenever a mage goes on a murderous rampage. I was actually surprised to see you here, Celeste. Well, I can't just leave him alone anymore. He ticked off a criminal overlord. They're definitely going to send someone after him. He can't really take care of himself right now. Celeste, your thoughts are leaking. Hey, get out of my head. What? It's nothing. I am surprised, though, that many people slight the Eye Taker and live. He's known for taking swift retaliation against his enemies. Well, the Eye Taker is probably now ganged up by a lot of people and probably was killed, who knows. We're hoping he's laying low after his plan with Beatrice fell through. That does match with the reports I've read. Supposedly, he's been absent from many of his enterprises. Either way, not looking forward to dealing with him again. It's bad enough that you're already on the nobility's bad side. By the way, Tyrion, Ruby sent another letter. Do you want to put it with the rest? Right. Have you spoken to her since the trial? I see. That does explain her recent mood. Right. You two probably see each other a lot. I prosecuted a few of her clients recently. It's clear she's not nearly as threatening as before. Could we talk about something else? Of course. My apologies. Oh, the tea's ready. Oh, thank you. Some tea sounds lovely right now. Right. I was totally making it for you guys. She walks to the cabinet in your kitchen. She takes out 2 more teacups. Guys better enjoy this. These are the last bags of... Whoa! She walks over to you. She slips on a scroll case that you left on the floor. She regains her balance, but the teacups slip out of her hands. The boiling liquid is airborne and is heading right toward your face. Oh no. Figakwa! Celeste reacts immediately and points her index finger at the tea. Magic takes hold and the tea freezes just inches from your face. She breathes a sigh of relief. She brings the tea back into their cups. We really need to clean this place. I'm your bodyguard, not your maid. Right. Sorry about that. That was Shape Liquid, wasn't it? Yeah. Shape Liquid has been added to your notes. Oh, I never expected you to. I know. It's just too convenient not to have. She's really opened her mind about learning new spells. You remember when you first met her? Back then, she only knew how to cast Mage Blade. She hated magic back then. Never imagined how diverse her repertoire would become. Oh, someone else. Another visitor? I'm already up. I'll check it. Well, whoever they are, I'm not giving up any more of my lotus tea. You open the door and don't see anyone. There's a letter in your mailbox. You take a closer look at the envelope. It's sealed with candle wax. There's a crest on it. It's the insignia of House Pierce. You quickly open the letter and read it. Despite supposedly being written by a noble, the paper has been torn in half. The message is clear. I hope you understand. I never contacted you unless I had no other choice. I know the truth behind McCoy's true parentage. and I'm aware of how vital this information is to you. As you know, my execution is scheduled for next month, but I'm running out of time. I want to trade this information with you. In exchange, you will grant me my freedom. Meet me in the private prayer room within the Cathedral of the Scale Lord at 2 p.m. You will save me from my fate, or else. What? Yeah, this guy, remember this guy was in the first case who actually killed Celeste's foster father? So interesting that we'll get to see him again. If he thinks for a second we think of helping him, I know how you feel. Aren't these the answers you've been looking for? I don't care. We're not going to help him. That was never an option, but there's clearly more to this. I agree. I wasn't able to find out in the first place. The truth, Celeste. I've also been looking into your parentage. What? Why didn't you say anything? I'm sorry, but I didn't want you to raise your hopes. And I was apparently right to do so. I couldn't find any information regarding your birth. So if you couldn't find anything, how was Pierce able to? House Pierce is low on the political hierarchy. He doesn't have access to the resources like I do. He does own the land that McCoy Tavern is on. But frankly, this whole situation is quite suspect. Why would he ask for my help? I was the one who indicted him in the first place. Even if I did agree to help him, it would be nearly impossible for me to get him an acquittal. He must be desperate. His execution is scheduled for next month, after all. It's possible that he reached out to Tamora as well. Still, I can't believe he'd set up a meeting at the Grand Cathedral today of all days. Why? What's happening there? I'm sorry, but it's not my place to tell you. Arya, can I talk with Tyrion alone for a minute? Of course. I'm sure you have much to discuss. I actually also have business at the cathedral today. Can't believe he'd use that as an opportunity. I'll be taking my leave. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is just bringing up bad memories for you. You should meet with him. What? I'm not going to help him, obviously. But I had an idea. He's probably really scared of his execution, right? And he's desperate enough to ask you for help. I suppose that's true. So, think about how stressed he would be if he showed up and refused to help him. I could use the Eye of Horus on him. We can get the info we need without having to give him anything. But are you really okay with this? You'll have to see him again. Yeah, I'll manage. It'll be worth it if we can finally get the answers I'm looking for. Already gotten her hopes up. There's no guarantee that he actually knows the truth. He could be just bluffing to get you to help him. But if he does know, you can't just ignore this. You need to verify his claims yourself. So this is the Grand Cathedral of the Scale Lord. You never been here before? I thought you'd spend a lot of time in Rathholm. The Church of Bahamut wasn't that popular in my hometown. I've never been the religious type. What about you? Never really caught on with me. And apparently my roots are more celestial than draconic. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. He certainly has the looks for it. Your thoughts are leaking again. Can you stop? I can't exactly turn it off, you know. Do these mental exercises I taught you. Ugh. As you approach the Grand Cathedral, you see a large blockade guarded by legions of the King's Guard. It's closed off. Is there some kind of event going on? He recalls Steelwind mentioning that she was heading here as well. The ability must be using the cathedral grounds for something. Might explain why Pierce wanted to meet you here. It's probably secluded from prying eyes today. Tyrion Cuthbert? As you approach the blockade, one of the knights notices you. He glances at you and Celeste. We've been expecting you. I see. You exchange glances with Celeste, when you both enter the cathedral grounds. The main building is massive and mostly empty. You only see a few people within. Most of them are quite familiar. You spot Life and Miriam as you head further into the room. They both avoid eye contact with you. It doesn't seem to be purely out of resentment. As soon as they see you, they move their conversation elsewhere. It's clear they still have mixed feelings about how you convicted their sister. In another corner of the room, you spot Lloyd von Sanctus speaking with another individual. She seems to be someone of equal social standing. You feel like you've seen her somewhere before. You can't quite remember where. As soon as you enter the room, von Sanctus flashes a quick look of disdain at you. You see him slowly move his conversation out of the room as well. And finally, you see Lucio Steelwind speaking with his daughter, along with the two princes. They seem to be speaking with another individual you haven't met before. When he notices you, his gaze narrows, and he stares at the two of you warily. Astor especially seems surprised to see you here. He and Lucio ask the prosecutor something, but you can't quite hear their conversation. When she responds, Astor raises his eyebrows and Lucio's expression darkens. What's going on here? This is a little awkward. Yeah. We have some time before our meeting with Pierce. Want to do some sightseeing? Oh, are you asking me out? We are literally already out. Sure, why not? I picked up this map from the entrance. Use it to navigate through the area. Map of the Grand Cathedral added to your notes. Okay, you're gonna talk to people a little bit. I'm also a little interested in what all these nobles are doing here. It is strange. Perhaps someone can tell you more. I think I saw Arya over there. We should go and say hi. As you approach the group, the Grand General and the unnamed noble stare at the two of you. Hello? Nobleman looks at you and then at Celeste. He silently scans the two of you. It's as if he's trying to read something. He then walks away without a word. Rude. At this point, I'm kind of used to it. Mr. Cuthbert and Miss McCoy, I'm surprised to see you here. What? I thought you were the one who invited them. Sad to say that I didn't. Although, I am happy to see you two nonetheless. What brings you to the Grand Cathedral today? We were actually invited by another noble. Have a meeting with him. What? None of the people here are allowed to invite guests. Why did the guards stop you? Oh, they said they were expecting us. What? It was Lord Pierce who invited them. Pierce? That little... And to think I granted his request for temporary release. I'm sure he means no disrespect by it. He probably had his reasons. How can you say that? This is the day of your... He stops himself mid-sentence and clears his throat. Make no mistake, he is a dead man. I will have words with him about this. I have to ask, why are all these nobles gathered here? You've taken over the entire Grand Cathedral. As you ask that question, everyone seems to tense up. The prosecutor awkwardly looks at the two princes. Prince Alaric avoids eye contact with everyone and just stares at the ground. I am sorry, but I'm not at a liberty to tell you that. It's a matter of public safety. I see. It's a little strange, but you can read the room. Prying isn't the best thing to do right now. You said that Lord Pierce invited you here. For what reason? I can't really tell you that. You will tell us if it possesses a threat to the nobles in attendance. Please, Lord Steelwind, there's no need for that. Mr. Cuthbert will never do anything to put anyone's life in danger. As you wish, Your Majesty. Is this the reason why Pierce asked for temporary release? Interesting. So Pierce was temporarily released to attend whatever this is. He could have met with you in his cell, but perhaps he wanted to be away from prying eyes. Lady Steelwind, Your Majesty, the High Speaker is ready to speak with you. Oh, wonderful. I've been looking forward to this all day. Shall we go together, Miss Steelwind? Yes, Your Majesty. She would like to accompany you. Wonderful. You shouldn't keep him waiting. Okay. Skilled Lord. How does she plan to marry him if she can't even speak to him properly in his presence? Honestly? I also have something important to do. Good day to you, commoners. He's going toward the washrooms. I will be taking my leave as well, but make no mistake, my men will be keeping an eye on you too. No one has left the room for now. Perhaps you should move somewhere else. Let's move to the common room then. Oh, there he is. Now, what are you doing here? Do you follow us? Not intentionally. Trust me, you're the last person we wanted to see today. Hush now, Von Sanctus. They are here by chance. It is because their cosmic balance wills it so. Not this again. Sorry, I don't think we've met. I'm Coraline Sybil, Lady of the House of Sybil. Oh, she's a normal. So this is the head of the fourth pillar family. She's not quite what you were expecting. Between her, Lucio, Lloyd, and William, she definitely seems the most agreeable. For better or worse, you've gotten to know the other pillar families decently well. Might benefit you to learn more about her. So you're the leader of House Sybil. What does your family do exactly? How are you this ignorant? Each of the four pillars, as you commoners call them, control different branches of the kingdom's government. House Steelwind oversees national defense and law enforcement. House Frege oversees economic development and finances. House Von Sanctus handles commerce, both local and international. Finally, there's House Sybil. We handle the kingdom's legislative and judicial branches. That would also mean you're responsible for our kingdom's justice system. That is correct. Oh, wonderful. Here we go. Lady Sybil, are you aware of the rampant corruption happening with your justice system? I suppose it's only inevitable that you see it that way. Am I wrong? I've been involved in many court cases and it's very obvious. Oh, hey, Raz, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Tonight, because yeah, I'm guessing it's pretty late where you're at. Welcome. All your courts care about is closing cases as quickly as possible. The system is corrupt to its core. Courts don't even try to hide it half of the time. Yes, he prevailed against this so-called corruption in each and every one of your cases. Me against every inconceivable odd, and I can't be everywhere. Do you have any idea how many commoners are falsely convicted every day? If they are convicted under my system, it's because the cosmic balance deems it so. What are you even talking about? The cosmic balance is the natural order of things. Under it, the guilty are punished while the innocent are protected. And yet, when a noble commits a crime, they only need to waive their influence to escape any consequences. All while their victims are forced to suffer in silence. Worse, an innocent commoner is framed for the crime. Regardless of your personal feelings, our kingdom needs the nobility to govern the people. If they were held to the same standards as commoners, our society would surely collapse. I take back what you said about her being the most agreeable of the four pillars. Yeah, you kind of jinxed it there, buddy. So you think nobles like Pierce and Von Sanctus should just be allowed to get away with murder? Are you still sore about that? I'm sure you realized it by now. It more than paid what happened with Jason Wynn. His name was Justin Wayne. And if you were truly paying for your crimes, you would be in prison right now. Juan Sanctus made a mistake, but removing him from his position would only create more suffering. Our government is barely recovering from the death of William Frege. Rivengard can't suffer on the loss of another house leader this close to that. The way I see it, I think you nobles overstate your importance in our lives. We'd probably be fine without you. And I suppose you commoners are capable of coordinating macroeconomic initiatives. Oh, I suppose you're also capable of engaging in diplomacy with the other nations. Face it, as much as you loathe to admit it, ours is a symbiotic relationship. More like a parasitic relationship. So what? The common folks should just continue to suffer for the good of our own nation? Lady Sybil, the people of the kingdom you claim to be protecting are suffering because of your inaction. My inaction? You place the blame on me? But what have you done? You were once a champion of your so-called justice, but you stopped your work as a defense attorney. How many lives could you have saved in the month that you spent on vacation? It's not his responsibility to solve your mess. You have no idea how much he suffered trying to do the right thing. Celeste, perhaps you're right. He shouldn't bear that kind of responsibility alone. But every commoner has the ability to learn and practice law as you do, Mr. Cuthbert. So why are you one of the few commoners that do so? From what I've heard, you're one of the few people who defend mages of the common folk. Every other attorney would consider taking them as clients. Perhaps the problem lies in the common folk, then. They are fully capable of rising to defend the so-called innocent, yet they do nothing. Never mind. This was clearly a mistake. Let's go, Celeste. Yeah. Finally! Thank the Scaled Lord. You okay? Yeah, I guess I should have expected that. I never expected someone with so much power to be so out of touch with reality. Come on, let's go somewhere else. We still have some time before the meeting. Yeah, we can't talk to her. Let's go somewhere else. Let's move to the garden, I suppose. You find yourself in the Grand Cathedral's garden and stumble upon a strange statue. Wow. That's a little out of place. Yeah, I mean, why does it have a party hat? Who did that? I'm guessing it's the young prince. He was trying to be doing a little hee ha ha prank. What even is it? If my memory is correct, it's a Pegasus. Ah! Hello, friends. As you inspect the contemporary piece of artwork, you're startled by a familiar voice. Oh no, Eris is here too! Ooh, this is not gonna go well. And it looks like she's not alone either. Along with Eris, she seems to be accompanied by both of her sisters. Beatrice! Aren't you supposed to be dead? Sorry, I wasn't trying to say... No, it's perfectly understandable. You of all people know what was on my blood contract. But appears the Lady of Discord isn't going to kill me just yet. Do you really have to do that? What? Never mind. Right. It's a little awkward speaking to the Freyja sisters after everything that's happened. But they don't seem to be hostile. All things considered, you prefer their company over Sybil's. Although, you're still not sure how you feel about speaking with a murderer, especially one that you indicted. But Beatrice clearly knows about demons and their kind than you do. I wonder if she knows anything about the Heavensborn. So, you seem to be doing well, all things considered. You mean how a demon now has the ownership of my soul? Yeah, that. How can you be so calm about this? I must agree with Miriam. It's a little unnerving how nonchalantly you're treating this. I suppose it's the knowledge that everything is out of my hands now. There's something peaceful about it. That certainly is a positive way to look at it. You know, my offer still stands. I can try to help you. The risk of your own life? Which part of the contract would you dispute anyways? You recall reading her blood contract in the courtroom that day. There was very little room for interpretation. It was airtight. The demon I signed the contract with was very meticulous about the details. I spent the last 5 years looking for any possible loopholes, but I didn't find anything substantial I could use. Don't even think disputing it is possible. I'm sorry. Don't be. You defeated me. I won't suffer your pity. I feel like we always end up randomly meeting like this, Aerith. What brings you here? I requested to accompany Beatrice to this event. After all, I don't have any opportunities to enter a church like this. I can imagine. By the way, is your father still... Oh, if you're worried about him, he already had a conversation about you. I don't think he'll be accosting you anytime soon. Oh, thank you. That seems to be too good to be true. How'd you pull something like that off? He may look like a hardened criminal. He always had a soft spot for his family. He also owed me, but I have a way of making people see things my way. She's right about that. Wait, if you're here, does that mean Maronath is also... Oh heavens no. There's no way they'd let me bring him here, of all places. I left him at the entrance with the King's Guard. He tries to escape. That knight over there is ordered to kill me. She points at a knight that's silently watching the sisters from afar. You're surprisingly calm about this. Please, I regularly deal with demons. This is nothing in comparison to that. You really haven't changed. I suppose not. Wait, does that mean you can't see right now? How did you know which statue I was looking at? It was a lucky guess. A grotesque statue certainly makes an impression on you. Oh, Maronath just spoke with me. He wanted to let me know that he can smell your celestial stink from the entrance. I love you too, Maronath. Oh, wow. I probably shouldn't repeat his response to that. By the way, you seem to know a lot more about these things than I do. What exactly is a Heavensborn? What? Did you seriously not know? But you know how to issue a divine edict. That's a very advanced technique. It sort of came to me in the moment. What? Anyways, I'm quite surprised you don't know about your lineage. Perhaps my mother knew. I lost her when I was really young. I see. You have my condolences. But to answer your question, Heavensborn is a human whose bloodline has been touched by the gods. Gods? You mean like the Scaled Lord? No, I'm speaking of the actual gods. Beatrice, you can't say that here. Oh, come off it. What's the church going to do? Arrest me? Anyways, your blood has been touched by the celestials of the upper planes. Much like my soul is bound to the abyssal hells, your soul is consecrated and tied to the heavens. The heavens? Is that why you were able to use the Eye of Horus? Is it some kind of angelic power? Make no mistake though, if you find yourself under the wrong circumstances, even you can be sent to hell. The Church of Bahamut is prominent in Wyverngard, but this is the first time I've heard of the celestial gods. Ah, that makes sense. It's probably because of Wyverngard's bloody history with the theocracy of Lumina. Theocracy? Aren't they the nation northeast of us? Yes, the Luminites worship the celestial gods, while our people worship the H-dragons. A few decades ago, our nation was locked in a bitter war with the Luminites. Even now, the Crown sees the celestial religions as a possible threat to our draconic culture. The Church has done its best to wipe out any religions that worship the Celestials. I see. But if your bloodline is blessed by the Celestials, does that mean that our kids will also be Heavensborn? I suppose so. I think my mother was also a... Wait, what did you just say? Your kids. I asked if your kids will be Heavensborn. Oh. I must have misheard you then. No, that is not a mishearing. She said our. 100%. Wow. If only you were always this easy to lie to. Anyways, I'm a little curious about the theocracy of Lumina. They worship celestials there. Would I find other Heavensborn there? Heavensborn aren't that common there either. Frankly, I'm surprised there's even one Heavensborn living in Wyverngard. How did your bloodline even find its way here? I suppose I don't really know. Mother never told me much about our ancestry. That makes sense. If the Church of Bahamut knew what you were, they would have definitely hunted you down. Great. Last thing you need is another faction that wants to kill you. Anyways, travel into and out of Wyverngard is technically illegal, and I doubt Lord Steelwood will make an exemption for you. He is an old veteran of the Great Luminite War. Veteran? Vet? Oh no. I hate the vet. I'm not going. You'll never take me alive. Oh, and he's barking. Arf, 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 arf. All watch as Tracker frantically runs through the garden, barking loudly. Leif chases him as she runs towards someone. I should probably go help her. It's almost 2 p.m. anyways. We should head to the prayer room. Thank you for answering my questions, Beatrice. Please let me know if there's anything I could do to help you with your situation. Of course. Let's go, Celeste. Right. Try not to look so down. It's almost time for the main event. Why did you bring me here? Oh, who knows? Whatever you're planning to make me do, please don't make me harm my sisters. You're in no position to make demands. You'll just have to see for yourself. Stay safe, Mr. Cuthbert. Alright, let's go to the nave. Oh, let's go to the prayer room, sorry. Are you ready? Yeah. At least. I hope so. If it becomes too much for you, don't hesitate to leave. I need a few moments to look into his mind. No, I'm the one who asked you to do this. I'm not going to leave you alone with him. All right, that's what you want. Tyrion? Yeah? Thank you for doing this. Really means a lot to me. Of course. So finally give you the answers you've been looking for. It's not just that. You've done so much for me since I met you. You got me acquitted, helped me with work through my grief for my dad. Feels like I can never repay that. What are you talking about? For the past few months, all I've been doing is relying on you. Genuinely don't know what I'd do if you weren't a part of my life. You should tell him. Tell me what? Get out of my head. Really bad at guarding your mind. You know you can tell me anything, right? Wait, Arya's here? Arya? How long have you been standing there? Well, I knew you would be here around this time. I wanted to wish you luck. But then you two seem to be in the middle of something. I didn't want to interrupt. Don't stop on my account. I'll just get out of your way. Isn't this awkward? It's so awkward. As she awkwardly skitters away, you see something falling out of her pocket. Oh, Arya, you dropped your runestone. She picks up the runestone. She accidentally activates it. An image of a piece of evidence appears for a brief moment, but she quickly hides it. But not before Celeste sneaks a peek at it. Oh! Ooh, I see. Celeste, don't just invade her privacy like that. Don't be like that. I'm really happy for you. Thank you. Good luck. Part of you really wants to know what she saw. One of you have to exercise some self-restraint. Anyways, let's go meet with him. Yeah, let's do this. I can tell him after. You finally arrived. I suppose this means you finally decided. Wait, you two? We got your letter. Letter? What letter? You sent us a letter, Pierce. It said that you knew who Celeste's parents were. Did send that letter, but not to you two. What? I don't like this. And so the final act begins. I've been waiting for this. What the hell are you doing? You gone mad? No! What are you doing? Stop! Lady Steelwind? What are you... Is this also the will of the cosmic balance? Come on! Just tell us the truth, Pierce! You are the last person I would give this information to. He's getting more and more stressed. Just a little more and you'll... As you interrogate him, you suddenly hear a loud crash outside the room. What was that? I'm going to take a look and see what's going on. What? Aren't you just going to leave us here? He's right. We don't know what's going on. We should stay together. Don't worry. There were 2 guards outside, and they're from the King's Guard. You'll be fine. That's not what I'm worried about, but I'll trust your judgment. What? It's been almost 10 minutes since Celeste went to investigate the noise. Pierce seems extremely on edge. He's sitting on one of the tables and impatiently tapping its surface with his fingers. So, you never intended to send that letter to me. Who did you send that letter to then? Oh, as if I would ever tell you that. Luckily for you, you should have accumulated enough stress by now. What? Why are you looking at me like that? Even if I wasn't the intended recipient, you said that you knew who Celeste's biological parents are. Who are they? Are you seriously focused on that now? It's far too important. It's my only bargaining chip. Answer the question, Pierce. What was that? Salmina. What? What is this? A blue luminous vapor enters the room. As soon as it makes contact with you, you suddenly feel extremely fatigued. Damn it, it's a sleep spell! Sleep has been added to your notes. I'm miscalculated. No, they got here. That means Celeste. You try your hardest to stay conscious, but the spell is too powerful. You feel your body slowly dropping to the ground. No. Beatrice? Beatrice's actions has been added to your notes. Uh-oh. Yes. Let's save here. Alright, let's continue. Tyrion! What? Celeste? Tyrion, I'm so sorry. I should have listened to you. Should have never left you alone with him. Hey, it's okay. Tears are streaming down her eyes. She was clearly worried about you. You try your best to comfort her as you look around the room. What happened? How long were you knocked out? As you look around, you see several other people with you. Commander White is leading a group of knights. They all have their weapons drawn and pointed at something. It's Prosecutor Steelwind? Commander, I understand your position, but there has to be another explanation. Look, Your Majesty, I get where you're coming from. From what the witnesses have told us, it has to be a case of mage blight. Look around the room and see a pool of blood at the end of one of the tables. Celeste? Where's Pierce? Tyrion. I don't know how to tell you this, kid, but Garrick Pierce is dead. What? Honestly surprised that you're okay. But who? Look at the knights who all have their weapons pointed at the prosecutor. Wait a minute. You think Steelwind did this? It wasn't just Lord Pierce, Mr. Cuthbert. We also found the bodies of Lord Von Sanctus and Lady Sybil. Not to mention a bunch of the Kingsguard have gone comatose. Comatose? I don't want to believe it, but several people saw Steelwind acting off the scenes of each of the murders. We also found her unconscious here, and Pierce's body was lying next to her. No, it wasn't her. I saw Beatrice before I passed out. She was the one that knocked us out. Beatrice? What the hell is going on? Commander White, you need to put me in a holding cell. It needs to be one with an anti-magic field. What? I'm a danger to everyone here. We need to go now. What are you talking about? Now is not the time. Do it, Commander. Right. Watch as the Inquisition arrests Steelwind and escort her out of the room. Damn it. What happened? I know you have many questions, Mr. Cuthbert, but you should make sure that you're okay. Yeah, there's a necromancer in the nave. They have a point. I have no idea what happened while you were asleep. You follow their suggestion, not before making a note of the current time. It's 3:12 p.m. Oh, who's this? Nothing seems to be out of the ordinary, except... What? What's wrong with him? If you would just let me finish. There appears to be a trace of necromancy on you, Mr. Cuthbert. Necromancy? Probably nothing. Did your assistant cast any spells on you? Oh, right. I used healing magic on him when I found him unconscious. I expected as much. Never hurts to make sure. Anyways, nothing seems out of the ordinary. You're quite healthy. You should be fine to go about your business. Please speak with me again if you experience anything out of the ordinary. Thank you, I'm Lord Lazaric oh god, this name again. I'm Lord Lazaric Asclepius, House of House Asclepius. He's a nobleman. There are no thanks needed. My apprentice apparently owes you a lot. Apprentice? Wallace Nightgrave. He's one of your clients a few months ago. Oh, right. Steelwind did mention that she introduced you to. Speaking of Steelwind, I really find it hard to believe that she did this. Mr. Cuthbert, Mage Blight isn't exactly in Benign condition. When it takes hold of a mage, it doesn't matter what kind of person they are. Violent behavior is almost always a result of the delirium it puts them in. It's unfortunate, but mages have to be held responsible when cases like this happen. Unless someone is framing her.
Tyrion, I fought her.
What?
Do you remember back when we heard that weird sound? I went outside to see what was going on. I saw her outside, and the guards there were all unconscious. I tried to ask her what was going on, but she didn't say anything. She just attacked me.
What was her emotional state like?
Oh, well, she was pretty cold and emotionless. Almost looked like she was sleepwalking.
That's actually pretty strange.
What do you mean?
When someone is affected by Mage Blight, they enter a state of extreme psychosis. Psychotic episodes like that raise the affected mage's paranoia to ridiculous levels. That's why these cases almost end up in violence. She was affected by the Mage Blight. She shouldn't have looked anywhere near as calm as you're describing.
You
Might be onto something, Mr. Cuthbert.
What you're saying is true. There has to be more to this. You're planning on to defend her, aren't you?
At the very least, we need to find out what actually happened.
I feel like there's more to this than we're seeing. You saw her, right?
Commander White, you need to put me in a holding cell.
Needs to be one with an anti-magic field.
What?
I'm a danger to everyone here. We need to go now. She wanted them to arrest her.
Right.
It's as if she thought she was a danger to others.
Regardless of what really happened, she clearly believes that she was responsible for this.
There's no way she'd do something like this. Something else is happening here, and you will get to the bottom of this.
You're not sure where each of the murders occurred.
Well, the Inquisition should be able to tell you more about that. I also need to speak with Steelwind. If she really was affected by Mage Blight, she should be able to remember what may have caused it. But anyways, prayer room is the room you're most familiar with. You'll probably want to start there. You can talk to her for a bit. There's so many unknowns. You should continue looking for more clues. Don't push yourself too hard, okay? If you feel tired, don't be embarrassed to take a break.
Yeah, I'll try not to exert myself too much.
Where do you think we should go next? What? Why are you asking me?
I don't know. Just trying to figure out where to go next.
Don't ask me. You're the attorney. I'm just the muscle. In the figurative sense.
Right.
It's been a bit on the edge since she found you unconscious. She still feel guilty over leaving you alone?
Let's go to the prayer room.
You arrive at the prayer room. It's now swarming with knights from the Inquisition. You find yourself staring at the chalk outline where Pierce's body once was. Can't help but feel a little uneasy. You've been to plenty of crime scenes before, but even if you were unconscious, you were here when the murder happened. It's a little unnerving knowing how close you came to death. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Now's not the time for an existential crisis. Steelwind's future counts on you figuring out what happened. You still don't know what happened after you fell unconscious. The Inquisition believes that Steelwind broke into this room, knocked you and Pierce out, and then killed him. But if you remember it clearly, You saw Beatrice before you lost consciousness. There's more at play here than you realize. Celeste also fought Steelwind after Beatrice knocked you out. Perhaps she can tell you more about how she was acting. Let's review what happened. Before Beatrice knocked me out, we heard a commotion outside and you went to investigate. Can you tell me more about your fight with Steelwind? What was she like? Well, she wasn't her usual self. It's like she was in some kind of daze. I noticed even before she attacked me. Something was wrong with her. Oh, yeah. And she didn't even respond to me when I tried to talk to her. It's like she didn't even recognize me. But from what Lord Asclepius said, she would have been acting more erratically if she was affected by Mage Blight. It's possible that you fought someone disguised as her. I guess that's possible. Whoever they were, their magic was still extremely powerful. Several members of the 4 pillar families were assembled here. Could have been one of them. Should speak with Commander White when we get the chance. Grand Cathedral was closed from the public for whatever was happening here. They probably have a list of everyone who was present when the murders happened. This means whoever did this was one of the nobles that was here today. Yeah, but we know that Eris is definitely behind this because she was excited to see stuff going down. Beatrice can cast invisibility, so I doubt she'd let you see her. But did you see her at any point when you were fighting Steelwind? Celeste? Sorry, I don't know. I was too focused on staying alive. I've actually been meaning to ask you that. Aren't you really strong? I never even seen you break a sweat in a fight before. Well, she was really tough. It was terrifying, honestly. It's mainly her magic. Never even fought someone with spells that powerful before. She didn't hurt you, did she? No, but it got pretty close. I think she realized she couldn't beat me, so she just ran past me and into the prayer room. So her real target was Pierce. Why? Did you see the moment she murdered Pierce? No. When I arrived at the prayer room, I saw you and Steelwind unconscious on the ground. And Pierce was already dead. I'm assuming you didn't see Beatrice anywhere? No. She wasn't there when I arrived. How did she leave the prayer room without Celeste noticing? Did she turn herself invisible? Celeste's testimony has been added to your notes. We showed up at the prayer room for the meeting at 1:50 p.m. Then we interrogated Pierce for about half an hour. That's when we heard the commotion outside. You went to investigate it. Right. And I think Beatrice knocked me out and Pierce out 10 minutes after that. How long did you fight Steelwind before she pushed past you? We definitely fought for a while. Must have been at least 20 minutes. After that, she gave up on fighting me and ran into the prayer room. Which means that Beatrice somehow got into the room during your fight. That discounts my theory of her disguising herself as Steelwind. Regained consciousness at 3:12 p.m. That means you were knocked out for more than 40 minutes. There's still a lot of unknowns about what happened. Need all the pieces if you want to put this puzzle together. Alright, let's examine. There's a chalk outline where Pierce's body probably was. Unless he was sitting against the altar when he died. The blood stain seems to imply that the fatal wound came from his chest. An autopsy report would be helpful here. You should ask the commander for a copy of it next time you see him. These are 3 stained glass windows. They look quite nice. There are lanterns hanging around the room. They're still lit. It's lit! Time for magic. Okay. There are traces of conjuration magic all over the room. Must have been left by Beatrice's sleep spell. There's a trace of necromancy on the ground here. It's probably when I tried to heal you. Oh, there's a trace of transmutation here. It's all over the area around his body. Interesting. The murderer wounded him using a transmutation spell. Anything else we can check? Nope. Anyways, it looks like you found everything you can here. You should move and take a closer look at the other crime scenes. Let's go to the garden first. It's just you, Celeste, and the statue. The horrible statue. I don't feel safe here. Why is that statue freaking you out so much? A Pegasus is literally a celestial like you. I don't know. I can feel it suffering through the eye. It's an inanimate object, Tyrion. Let's move somewhere else. Alright. Whatever it takes to get you to stop acting so weird. You retrace your footsteps and find the common room. This was the last place you saw Von Sanctus and Sybil before everything happened. You look around and see most of the room has been entirely scorched. You still smell the scent of burnt cloth and flesh in the air. What happened here? Is there some kind of fire? Yeah, we think the perp lit a fire using magic. As you enter the room, Commander White approaches you. He seems to be accompanied by the typical legion of knights. Commander White. Hey, kid. Investigating what happened too? Something like that. You just want to figure out what really happened. You and me both. Nothing about this case makes any damn sense. I'll be honest, could really use your help in trying to figure this out. Honestly, I'm not sure who you can trust at this point. The commander is leading the investigation. He's bound to have information that will be useful for you. The whole situation is a damned mess. Has the Inquisition found any clues to explain what happened? You only have the basic stuff so far. We've only just received the autopsy reports. That's still pretty useful. Do you have copies of them? Sure. Knock yourselves out. Okay, died at 2:45 p.m. in the prayer room. Causes of death was blood loss. A shard of frozen liquid that was stabbed through his heart. It's very likely it was the murder weapon. Okay. Died at 2:18 p.m. Cause of death was suffocation. Body was found floating in a nearby lake outside of the Grand Cathedral. Died at 2:05 p.m. The cause of death was suffocation as well. Fire in the common room burnt the body so much to discern any specific wounds he might have suffered. A small trace of evocation magic and a burn mark were found on the victim's left shoulder. Despite the body was hit with a fire-based evocation spell. Okay. Wait, Pierce was killed with a frozen blade? Isn't that similar to how he killed Flintheart? Sorry, I didn't mean to. No, it's okay. If Steelwind really was affected by Mage Blight, she wouldn't have done something like that. Murder of the characters have been added to your notes. Anyways, the times of death also seem to tell a story. And look at the reports, the murderer must have killed Von Sanctus, then Sybil, then Pierce, in that order. Yeah, that's our working theory too. If you look at this map, you can see where the prayer room is. Prayer room on the common room are. Lady Sybil's body was found in the lake west of here. But since the Grand Cathedral is built on a cliff, there isn't any easy way to get there in a short amount of time. So that raises my next question. How did Sybil's body end up in the lake? How did Sybil's body end up to be in the lake? The murderer threw... with a spell, maybe? No. Right now, we're concerned about how Lady Sybil's body ended up in the lake that's west of Cathedral. Murderer couldn't have dragged her body there in such a short amount of time. There's a far simpler explanation. Let's see. No, not Von Sanctus, I'm sorry. Could be that? No. How did Sybil's body end up in the lake? It should... No, it can't be burned, right? Sybil... Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I'll figure this out. I'll figure this out. Let's see. Let me give this a bit more of a think. We can't say Von Sanctus. The murderer hid Sybil with a spell, could be? No. Completely? No, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Hmm. I wonder if she was probably thrown? That's probably the only one that could potentially make sense. From the balcony? What balcony? Well, let's give it a try. The Grand Cathedral is built on a cliff over the lake, and the westward balcony just happened to be right over it. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. We even have a witness who saw Steelwind there. Really? Who was it? It was High Speaker Theon Arceus. High Speaker? He's the one shot-caller of the Church of Bahamut, and he stands at the top of the religious hierarchy from what I hear. He spotted Steelwind near the west balcony and noticed that she was acting suspiciously. He called out to her, but she ignored him. So she knew that he saw her, but she didn't attack him? Yeah, he really lucked out. If she was having a psychotic episode, he would have noticed that. But you said all she did was ignore him. Either way, we'll just have to talk to him directly to find out more. Putting that aside, there's something else that's strange. What is that? It's about the order that the murders occurred in. What's strange about the order of the murders? The murderer killed Von Sanctus, Sybil, and Pierce in that order. This means that the murderer went to the common room, and then the west balcony, and then finally the prayer room. But if we look at the map, the murderer's route seems a bit strange. Okay, a little bit more thinking here, guys. Let's see.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. The murderer must have passed right by the prayer room before they dumped Sybil's body. Why wouldn't they just murder Pierce on the way here? Or there? Maybe they wanted to dump Sybil's body fast first. Or they were afraid of fighting me. Aren't you giving yourself a little too much credit? No, she has a point. Out of everyone who fought the murderer, Celeste was the only one who didn't die or fall comatose. Anyways, there has to be a reason why the murderer deliberately chose that route. Okay, you created a rough outline of the murderer's actions. The real clues will lie in, however, in each of the individual murders that occurred. That starts with figuring out how Von Sanctus was murdered. How did the Inquisition find about the murders anyways? Did a witness come across the bodies? All started when Prince Alric ran up to us. He told us he saw a fire breaking out in the common room. He also saw Steelwind there. But also when he tried to talk to her, she hit him with some kind of spell. Attacked one of the princes? Yeah, but it didn't look like she hurt him. Excuse me, just having a bit of water. That guy from House Asclepius inspected him, and he told us he wasn't injured. I'm glad he's okay. Wouldn't Arya have used a more violent spell if she was affected by Mage Blight? It's possible she was throwing spells randomly, and he just happened to get really lucky. I suppose that's possible. Was there anyone else nearby when this happened? Would have expected the Prince of Rivengard to be under constant guard. Yeah, it was kind of my mistake. Ordered the knights to give him some space considering what had just happened. And that would be? Sorry, kid. If you don't know, it's not my place to tell you. I have orders from the top to stay quiet about that. But you need to ask someone higher up. It's still strange though. Where were all these nobles gathered here? Anyways, whatever the perp hit him with, it'll only put him in a daze. He could barely walk or talk. Couldn't even approach us until the spell had worn out. The weirdest about it all is that he was pretty close to where we were. Must have been traumatic. But why didn't anyone see him during this time? After he told us about what was happening, we went to pull out the fires. That's when we saw a bunch of guards knocked out outside the prayer room. Did you see me? No. This all happened around 3:10 p.m. Right. That was probably well after Steelwind moved into the prayer room. Celeste must have already followed her into it. When you were arrested Steelwind, I recall you mentioned that a bunch of guards were comatose. Murderer used some kind of spell to knock them out? I don't think so. I'm just as lost as you are about that. Some of the victims didn't have any magical traces on, so we know that they're not under the effects of a spell. But they still haven't woken up. That's odd, to say the least. Is there any common thread between the knights and who fell comatose? That might help us deduce what happened to them. Well, we found all of them at locations where Steelwind was spotted. It can't be a coincidence. Just admitted that they weren't being affected by any kind of spell. What's going on here? Comatose Knights have been added to your notes. Commander White, you keep saying the perp instead of Steelwind. Even though everyone else seems to think she was responsible for this. You also suspect that she's being framed? It just doesn't add up. She did give herself Mage Blight. Her actions wouldn't have been so deliberate. She's definitely not the type of person to just go around murdering people. Even if she was, she's led a lot of the Inquisition's investigations recently. She's investigated plenty of homicides with us, and she knows exactly how we do things. Whoever did this got the job done, but they were sloppy about it. A bunch of witnesses saw her, and even she didn't even try to hide herself from using the magic. Or did she intentionally and wanted to get caught? Your scenario makes any damned sense. Someone has to be framing her. That's the only reasonable explanation. Honestly, I'm not sure about that either. What do you mean? You saw her when we arrested her, didn't you? She wanted us to lock her up. It's like she thought she was a danger to herself and others. Right. That's the same impression I got as well. If it weren't for the witnesses' statements, I'd be sure she gave herself Mage Blight. Strangest thing is that I'd never seen her that scared before. Something really rattled about what happened. See, let's talk about Beatrice. Did you follow up on what I said about Beatrice? I know she was in the room when Pierce and I fell unconscious. She has to be involved. Oh, she's already in prison, so we're already ahead on that account. When we asked her what happened, she said that she couldn't remember anything. It's such an obvious lie. She has to be hiding something. Normally, I'd agree with you, but she's not the one with missing memories. Steelwind also can't remember anything. What? Uh-oh, it's time for the usual anime amnesia arc. Looks like you'll have to speak with her about that. Anyways, What about Eris and that knight who was guarding her? Did they see anything?
Sorry, kid, but Eris Allmatter has been missing since everything went down.
What? Do you have any idea what happened to her?
No, I wouldn't be too worried.
What? A witness to the crime is missing and possibly hurt.
Look, kid, you may be a hotshot attorney, but I've been in this business a lot longer than you have. Sometimes when these things happen to civilians, they get spooked and run away. I've seen a million times.
I feel like he's not making any... It looks like... Yeah, it feels like he's not making a big deal of this as he should be. And he might have a point. Eris is the daughter of a crime lord after all. He might have gone into hiding to avoid having to speak with law enforcement. We don't have time, and we don't have the resources to look for her, but I'm sure she'll turn up eventually.
We don't have the resources to look for her, but I'm sure she'll turn up eventually.
Well, I suppose we can't do anything about that now. But I still hope she's okay. Anyways, what about the king and the night guard? Guarding Beatrice. Surely he didn't go missing as well.
That's the thing. The knight who was supposed to watching for her is one of the people who went comatose. Found him in front of the prayer room too.
Damn it. What happened to him?
Make matters worse, a Freya chick knows how to cast invisibility. So even if she was telling the truth, very few people would actually seen her.
Her guard was in front of the prayer room. She must have brought him in here somehow. His actions have been uploaded to your notes. Anyways, would you happen to have a recent version of a spell compendium?
Sure, I already have it on record.
There's just a spell compendium is added to your notes. Amelia Bond, Amanda Wounds, send message.
Wow, that is a lot.
Shatter has been added to your notes. Invisibility. Feign death. Usually decides have been added to your notes. Okay. Right. Forgot how many spells she knew how to cast. Is that a little difficult to take in? I still can't believe it. After... After everything he did, Mont Sanctus was just murdered.
I'm surprised to hear that from you. Didn't he basically get away with offing Justin Way? The way I see it, he got what he deserved.
It still doesn't sit right with me. I wonder who the victims might have been. No one deserves to die like that.
Definitely a bigger man than I am.
Anyways, Mont Sanctus's autopsy says that he died of suffocation.
I think the murderer overpowered him and choked him with a rope or something.
Really sounds like something that... Yeah, the more the more info I get, the more I think you might be onto something. But either way, the fire that the prep started in this room burned his body. Didn't completely turn into ash, but it was still pretty charred. So that fire would have been brought away? Yeah, we're lucky we even discerned he was hit with an evocation spell. Right, the autopsy report mentioned that too. But if a fire was added, is it possible that he died from smoke inhalation? No. A divination spell we always use identifies smoke inhalation as death by poisoning, not near death by suffocation. Let's continue. I suppose that kind of makes sense, but it's still a shame we can't find out how the murderer suffocated him. Alright, spell compendiums. We still know very little about how the murders occurred. Do you have any records of each of the victims' spell compendiums? It might help us what each of the victims was doing during the attack. Sure, knock yourselves out. Here, Pierce's spell compendium. Civil Spells Compendium. Von Sanctus's Prestigination. Okay. Conjure light. Conjure water. Conjure ice. Conjure magic. Okay. Okay. Alright. Oh, wow. That's a lot to work through. Yep, this is what happens when a bunch of mages are caught in the middle of a murder. Honestly, we've been lucky until now. Nevertheless, I'll need to look at each of these spells when they become relevant. Okay, so we should examine. The chalk outline in the center of the room. This must be where they found Von Sanctus. Oh, sorry, hold on. Von Sanctus's body. There's even bits of ash there. Must have been burned fragments of the body. Even now, the sunlight is shining through the stained glass windows. Looks like the fire reached them before it was put out. Anything else we can detect? Oh, what is this? There's scorch marks all over the room. Fire must have spread pretty far. Yeah, that was probably going to be for a while. No one even knows until Prince Alaric told the Kingsguard that he saw smoke. Interesting. We should speak with him and see if he saw anything else. Anything else to check? No.
Arcanum.
Wait, no. Go back. I guess we'll move. Let's go to the nave. Nope. A garden? Wait, hold on. Okay, I see we should go to the Inquisition dungeon. You arrive at the dungeon to speak with Steelwind, but you can't find her anywhere. The position of the Kingsguard must still be processing her. She should come back later. Okay, I did read that. Go to the prayer room again? Nope. Guess we're going to the common room. No, wait. Hit inspect. What goes through the mind of such a tortured creature? What is it with you and the statue? I don't know. I can feel its emotions as if they were my own. It's an inanimate object, Tyrion. There anything else?
Repario Arcanum.
Nope, nothing. Yeah, let's move, Maybe I'll just check here. There's an altar at the end of the room. Religious figure would probably give a ceremony here.
Repario Arcanum.
Nope, nothing here. Okay, let's see where we should go. Alright, now where should we go?
see where to. Pretty sure we checked everything, right? Maybe we can go to the garden again? It doesn't seem like we can check anything here outside of the, Let's examine some stuff. Cell has a barred window. Even if a prisoner somehow broke through the bars, there's only a 3-story drop to freedom. Lit torches are hanging on the wall of the cell. Seems a bit irresponsible to put a potentially harmful item in there with the prisoners. But perhaps the Inquisition doesn't care.
Arcanum.
Nope, nothing here. Oh, there we go. And traces of evocation and a bunch of different spells around the room. You think the perp threw a bunch of fire-based evocation spells around the start of the fire. And the Kingsguard used a bunch of water-based evocation spells to put out the fire before it spread. That makes sense. With that knowledge in mind, there's nothing out of the ordinary here. That matches his autopsy report. The murderer must have hit him with an evocation spell. Anything else? Nope. I think now would be a good time to go to the dungeon, right? No?
Arcanum.
try there.
Imperio Arcanum.
Nope, nothing. Another prayer room again.
Imperio Arcanum.
Yeah, we did check all of this though. Anything we didn't check? Alright, let's move back. Maybe we can talk to White again? Let's see. Nope. No. Let's see what we can find. Nope, we checked all of this. We're actually good. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same dialogue.
Imperio Arcanum.
Nope. Is there anything else we need to check here? Nope. Alright, we're gonna figure this out, guys. Don't worry. We should be ready to meet with Steelwind now. Maybe I need to present something to, Let's see. Talk to them about the autopsy, maybe? Certainly something we need to talk about more. Detect magic.
Arcanum.
Is there anything else we can check here? Oh, what is this? There's a trace of abjuration magic in the center of the room. Do the traces overlap with the body? Kind of. It's sort of square-shaped? Square-shaped? I can't see the traces, but there also seems to be a square-shaped outline around the body. You're right. They overlap perfectly. The area inside the square is a lot less burnt now that I look at it. Not sure what this means yet, but it's definitely worth taking note of. Von Sanctus, traces of abjuration has been added. Okay, is there anything else? I was pretty sure that I did check this, but apparently not. You think you found everything you can relating to Von Sanctus's murder? Perhaps you should move to somewhere else. Alright, let's go to... Oh, there's West Balcony now. Alright, let's go. You arrive at the west-facing balcony of the cathedral. Supposedly, this is where the murderer threw Sybil's body into the lake. Oh, hello there. Oh. Wait a minute. Why does this... Why does he look like Hide the Pain Harold? Is it me? Is it me, or does he look like him? Oh, hold on. I need to get a picture. I need to get a picture of him. I know his name is not Harold, but I know his name is Andras Arato, from what I remember. But let me get a picture of him. Hold on. Where is he? Wait, hold up. That's way too bright. Yeah, let me get it. Oh, this is too small. Hold on. Let me find a big one. What? No. That's not proper. Alright. Hold on, we almost got it. We almost got it, guys. There it is. Yeah. There we go. Hold on, let me get the image. Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting the playthrough with this, but this is too weird for me to... Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's intentional. Not sure. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I've been spending too much time on the internet. There we go. See? I'm pretty sure it's not just me. I'm pretty sure that's just not me. He just needs to have this painful smile so we can realize, oh, it is him. Yeah, the resemblance. There's quite a strong resemblance there. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's continue. As we inspect the area, you catch the attention of an old man nearby. From his garb, he appears to be someone who works at the cathedral. I don't believe we've met before. What are you doing here? Sorry for the intrusion. I'm TYRION Cuthbert, and this is my bodyguard, Celeste McCoy. We're investigating the murders on behalf of Prosecutor Steelwind. TYRION Cuthbert. I've heard of you. He doesn't look as nearly as criminal as I expected him to be. Judging from his thoughts, he probably hasn't heard many good things about you. But forgive my rudeness. I'm Syrian Arceus, High Speaker of the Church of Bahamut. So you're the one who saw Steelwind here during the murders. Do you mind if we ask you some questions? He scans you warily. I suppose there would be no harm in that. We heard you saw the prosecutor acting strangely here. Could you tell us more about what you saw? Did it look like she was having a psychotic episode? I wouldn't go that far, but she was certainly acting strangely. How did you come across her? Well, I was on my way to the prayer room. I always recite prayers from the draconic text around that time. Wait, he was heading to the prayer room? When I saw her, I first thought that she was enjoying the view of the lake. I was about to greet her, but when I approached her, I saw that she was throwing something off the edge of the balcony. You must have seen her dumping Sybil's body.
You're probably correct. I came to the same conclusion after they found that poor woman's body below us. Although, what is it? I only saw it for a second, so perhaps I am wrong. But Lady Sybil was wearing much brighter clothes this morning. Whatever Lady Steelwind threw into the lake, it looked much darker.
What does that mean?
I'm sorry, I can't really explain it. Perhaps I was just seeing things. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, after all. It could have been just a trick of the light.
Arceus's encounter has been added to your notes. Wait, if you saw Arya dumping Lady Sybil's body, she must have just murdered her. That means you must have been heading to where we were at the time.
Oh? Were you praying there with Lord Pierce?
Not exactly.
What? That's not what the guards told me.
The guards? You mean the ones standing outside the prayer room?
Yes. They told me that Pierce was praying with some acquaintances of his. They said the same thing to Lady Steelwind as well.
Wait, Steelwind was there too?
Yes. She appeared to be waiting for someone. But anyways, I didn't want to disturb them, so I went back to my quarters to pray there.
The High Speaker didn't see her fighting Celeste. She must have started her attack after he left. Why would she bother waiting? Either way, we can't exactly question those guards. Yeah, they're still comatose after the attack. Arceus's testimony has been updated in your notes. Oh, oops, sorry. Actually, the High Speaker's quarters aren't that far away from the prayer room. How did you not hear anything?
It must have been because of the magical wards in my room.
Magical wards? Are they there for security reasons?
Not exactly. I actually suffer from chronic insomnia. Even the smallest sounds will make me wake up at night. Years ago, I had mages enchant the walls so sound couldn't travel through them. I can't hear anything from outside the room once I shut my door.
That does sound awfully convenient, but you doubt that he'd lie about something you could so easily verify. Either way, you should make a note of this. Soundproof room has been added to your notes. Now let's examine. Let's use magic.
Arcanum.
What is this? There are traces of transmutation on the pieces of this debris. That would imply that a spell specifically targeted or created whatever this came from. I doubt someone created these bits of gravel. It must have been broken off of something else. Alright, I think that should be it. Can we move, I guess? Can you go to the dungeon now or not yet? Let's see. Nope, not yet. We gotta explore for a little bit. Balcony provides a perfect view of Lake Galakrond. A lot of people come here when the Grand Cathedral is open to the public. You can see a military stronghold in the distance. You must have been able to see a lot from that high up. More magic? Let's see.
Arcanum.
Nope, nothing new. Oh. There's some sort of debris on the ground. Pick up one of the pieces and feel it in your hands. There used to be some kind of gravel. Debris near the balcony was added to your notes. You believe that you found everything you can here. Perhaps you should move somewhere else. Alright, maybe we can go to the dungeon now. No, not yet. Not yet, actually. Go to the garden? Again? We were right back at the cathedral's garden, and I come across that accursed statue again, staring into my soul. And stop looking at it! As you move your attention away from the grotesque sculpture, you spot the crown prince. He's sitting on a bench, guarded by some knights from the King's Guard. His brow is furrowed. He seems to be deep in thought. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert, and Miss McCoy, too. What are you still doing here? We're trying to investigate what happened. We're looking around when we just happened to find you here. I see. Are you okay? Yes, I was just thinking of how unfortunate this whole ordeal has been. I do hope Miss Steelwind is taking this well. Right. She is his fiancée, after all. He must be extremely worried about her. I'm trying to find out exactly what happened. Do you mind if we ask you some questions? I see. Well, I'll do whatever I can to help. You said that you two were investigating the murderers. You weren't planning on to defend Miss Steelwind, were you? If she would have me. She may be a competent prosecutor, but I have far more experience defending clients. Unfortunately, I think the situation is more complicated than that. What do you mean? Several house leaders died today. Can't release this information to the public. Right after news of William Frega's death had already spread. Of course, in 2 months, we've lost not one, but 3 members of the Pillar families. But the trial has to happen soon, or else the magical traces left will disappear. What I've heard, we will be holding a trial. It will be handled privately and internally. Sorry to say, won't be permitted to serve in such a trial. Right. The majority of the nobility hates me, after all. You wouldn't be able to pull some strings, would you, Aster? I'm sorry. I'd like nothing more than to give you the opportunity to represent her. I clearly have a personal attachment to this case. If I tried to attempt a trial in her favor, only harm her chances more. Right. I see what you mean. Even if we can't help her during the trial, still investigate the crimes on her behalf. Yes, I would really appreciate that. New evidence is found. Perhaps we can exonerate Miss Steelwind of the charges against her. After everything that's happened, I really need to know. Why were so many nobles gathered in one place anyways? All 4 of the Pillar families were present. I understand if you don't want to tell me. This information could be vital in figuring out what really happened. No, I see your point. The truth is, we all gathered to mourn the death of my father, King Olivier de Wyverngard the 9th. Wait, the king is dead? Yes, we wanted to avoid releasing this information to the public, so close to the death of William Frega. Father has been ill for quite some time, but we were prepared for this. Or at least, I thought I was. I also lost my mother when I was quite young. It's still all a little hard to take in. I'm sorry. You have my condolences. Thank you. But if King Olivier is dead, how would make you... Yes, you are currently standing before King Aster de Wyverngard, ruler of our kingdom. Considering everything that's happened, he seems less than thrilled about that. I suppose that explains why all of those nobles were gathered. They came under the guise of paying their respects. But it's clear they wanted to get close to the new king of Wyverngard. I think the Fregas were the only ones who genuinely came to give their condolences. Speaking of the Fregas, I think you need to know. I saw Beatrice before I was knocked out. I think she may have been the one that killed Garrick Pierce. Why would she be there? I'm sorry. I know she's your friend. We already knew she's not above committing murder. I see. I suppose if you're saying it, it must be so. What possible reason would she have to be involved in something like this? Not sure yet. I plan to find that out. By the way, where were you during the murders? I remember you left the Steelwind when Celeste and I arrived at the cathedral. Ah yes, Steelwind and I left to speak with High Speak Arceus in his quarters. What was your meeting about? It was actually about our wedding. My father's death, Lord Steelwind wanted to finally make our union official. Oh! I would congratulate you two, but considering the circumstances, I understand, and I appreciate your words nonetheless. Anyways, how long did this meeting last? I believe you spoke with him until 1:40 p.m. Von Sanctus died at 2:05 p.m. Means she began her rampage less than half an hour after that meeting. Is there anything off about her behavior? Now that you mention it, something about her demeanor changed. We were speaking of the wedding when she abruptly left. I asked her where she was going, but she ignored me. It sounds so similar to what happened when Celeste fought her. There's no way she was affected by the Mage Blight. Marriage meeting has been added to your notes. I honestly didn't think much of it at the time. Quite used to her giving me the cold shoulder. Right. It's possible that the Steelwind the witness saw wasn't actually real. Does that mean Steelwind that was attending the meeting was also a fake? Anyways, what happened after your meeting with the High Speaker? Did you see Steelwind after that? Actually, I found myself caught in something else entirely. At 2 p.m., I went to pay my respects to my father's coffin, but apparently someone had set a magical trap there. What? It's a glyph of contingency. Glyph of contingency has been added to your notes. Ooh. Man, this is getting a lot more complicated. I have heard of that spell. It's like a trap you can set. You can infuse any spell into it, but it requires a second contingent spell to place that trap. Which spell was it? It was a force cage targeting me. Was the murderer trying to attack Aster too? I don't think so. They would have used a more lethal spell if they wanted to. But from the sounds of it, force cage can't be dispelled. So Aster would have been trapped inside of it for that full hour. We think the murderer used this as a distraction. Because of that trap, the Kingsguard consolidated most of their attention and forces on my location. As a result, there were fewer people guarding Von Sanctus, Sybil, and Pierce. And the ones that were there all fell comatose. They can't tell us what happened to them. The Trapped King has been added to your notes. Yet another inexplicable event is added to the list. In everything you've learned, you highly doubt that Steelwind is affected by Mage Blight. So someone must be behind what happened. But who? It's Eris. I'm 100% sure that it's Eris. Anyways, seems like he told you everything he knows. Probably didn't witness much after he was trapped by the force cage. You should move somewhere else and follow your other leads. Alright, dungeon time? Not yet! Let's see. Let's go to the common room, I guess? Nope, we're done here. Prayer room? Should go to the nave, I guess. She attacked a member of the royal family and killed several nobles. What else is there to investigate? The laws are clear about what we must do. We should execute her immediately. Ulrich, this situation is far too more important to make such rash decisions. We need to approach this calmly and carefully. As you return to the nave, you spot the young prince in an argument with that nobleman you saw earlier. Now that you think of it, you still have no idea who he is. Uh-oh, It's you two. Your Highness. I don't think we've been introduced. What? I see you're still as insolvent as ever. You stand before Ceremius Virgile, Archduke and Royal Vizier? No, it's Visor. Visor. Yeah, it's a visor. I'm sorry, I can't speak English. I'm sorry. To the Wyvern Guard throne. I believe he means advisor. Archduke? I didn't even know that the Kingdom of Wyvern Guard had a title like that. I haven't even heard of him before. Why are you two still here anyways? I thought the cathedral was closed for the investigation. We're investigating on what happened on behalf of Prosecutor Steelwind. I see. Anyways, I have much to attend to. I'll be taking my leave. I sense a tinge of anxiety. Is he avoiding you? Actually, since we have you here, we have some questions for you. The both of you. You should know your place, knave. Your Grace, where were you when the murders took place? Just what are you trying to insinuate? Please, Ulrich. There's no need for that. To answer your question, I was speaking with Lady Freya's familiar. Tracker? No, it was the demon who calls himself Maranath. What? Would you want to speak with him? He was actually the one that sent for me. According to him, he had some information that was of great import to me. You didn't make a contract with him, did you? Of course not. What kind of desperate fool do you think for me? What did you take me for? No. He gave me the information he had freely. But why would he do that? Demons are supposedly always trying to trick humans into making deals with them. Looking back, it must have been a distraction. What a fool I was. I knew he was playing with me. But I knew he couldn't tell lies. And the information he had was too important to ignore. You don't mind me asking, what was the information about? I'm sorry, but I can't reveal what he told me. It could endanger people that I care about. Rest assured, I doubt it has anything to do with the massacre. Your Grace, we've only just met. Can't exactly just take your word for it. I suppose that's fair. But believe me when I say I plan to take this information to my grave. That's ominous. They clearly intent on keeping the conversation a secret. Anyways, several members of the King's Guard were watching us. I can verify my alibi. How long does this conversation last? I arrived to speak to him at 1:50 p.m. and I didn't leave until 3:10 p.m. Virgile's alibi has been added to your notes, so it was accounted for during the time frame of the murders. Why would Maranath go to the trouble of distracting him in the first place? Whoever orchestrated this also used a force cage to trap Aster. Were they trying to distract the forces in the cathedral? Or were they trying to keep certain people out of the crossfire? Either way, I know that Beatrice has a lot to answer for. Your Highness, we heard the Prosecutor cast a spell on you when you saw the fire in the common room. Can you tell us more about what happened? Can't believe she attacked a member of the royal family. She's completely responsible with her magic. I understand your feelings about this, but we can't say for certain that she inflicted mage blight on herself. I don't even know if it was actually her. I saw her with my own eyes. Plenty of other people did too. Either way, where did this happen? It was on the path outside of the common room. I saw smoking coming out of the building, and I saw Steelman walking away from it. So it must be after she murdered Von Sanctus. I have a feeling I already know the answer, but was she behaving erratically? No, she was very deliberately cast a spell on me. Which once again implies that Mage Blight wasn't behind this. Do you know which spell she cast on you? I'm not sure. I've never been affected by a spell like that before. magical traces on him, we know it was a transmutation spell. Transmutation spells manipulating changed physical matter. It's scary to think about what it might do to a human body. Are you sure he's okay? Lord Asclepius inspected him and doesn't seem to have any lasting injuries. We're hoping the spell's effects were only temporary. Can you describe how you felt while you were affected by it? That might help us identify which spell it was. Well, I was extremely dazed, and my ears were ringing. My vision was also partially blurred. It was as if my mind was in some sort of fog. Whenever I tried to speak, I couldn't even form words from my mouth. I could only make grunting noises. I couldn't walk either, so I had to crawl on the floor. I'm sorry you had to go through that. That must have been traumatic. What kind of transmutation spell would do that to him? It had to be something that affected his senses. You already told us that she wasn't acting erratically. Was there anything off about her demeanor? Only saw her for a moment. She was definitely different than usual. She was completely emotionless. Yeah, that's exactly what she was when I fought her too. It's like she was an arcane construct. Her movements were almost robotic. Wait, are there any arcane constructs on the cathedral grounds? No, not for lacking of trying on Lord Von Sanctus's part. The High Speaker and I have specifically forbidden the staff here from using them. Really convenient if all of this was done using a construct. Although, we're a little tired of seeing them in your cases. Anyways, was anyone else around when Steelwind cast that transmutation spell on you? No, she moved away quickly after she incapacitated. Oh my god, I'm flubbing this up. Incapacitated. Oh my god. Incapacitated. Yeah, there we go. Incapacitated me. And even if someone was around, I don't think I could have seen them anyways. Anyway, Ulrich's testimony has been added to your notes. Commander White said that he was surprised no one saw the prince until after that spell wore off. What happened to him? That covers Ulrich's account of what happened. We even got the Archduke's statement too. There's still one last person we need to speak to. Aria. She and Beatrice have supposedly no memories of what happened. And we're only Beatrice saying that, probably doubt it. But if Steelwood doesn't have any memories, it becomes a lot more credible. She definitely has the missing piece we need to put this together. Are you going to the dungeon to speak with her? I am. Wonderful. I'll be accompanying you. What? As a royal advisor, I have a vested interest in this investigation. While I trust Lucio to leave no stone unturned, I hear you have quite the talent for seeing what the crown cannot. It's not as if you have the authority to stop him, but you still don't know him very well. You need to be wary of what you say in front of him. Alright, let's go. Now we can go to the dungeon. You arrive at the dungeon and see the prosecutor sitting in a holding cell. She seems extremely stressed. It's as if she's trying to figure out something. Mr. Cuthbert, and your grace. Seemingly gives a wary look at the Archduke. How are you doing? As best as I can, all things considered. What brings you here? We're trying to investigate everything that happened. I see. I was wondering if you'd answer some of our questions. Steelwood, your situation is pretty grim right now, but you know you can trust me. You're not the person I'm worried about. At this moment, I don't even know if I can trust myself. What? We heard you don't have any memories of what happened. Is that true? It is. No matter how much I try, I can't recall anything. What is the last thing you remember? I believe I was leaving my meeting with the High Speaker and His Majesty. After the meeting, I was planning to return to Nave to speak to my father. I suddenly felt extremely nauseous. Thought some fresh air might help me feel better. So I went to the balcony. One over Lake Galgaronod? Yes, that one. The last thing I remember was losing consciousness as I looked at the lake. Did you cast any magic before that happened? No, I didn't. You sure you don't remember anything after that? I don't. All I remember is waking up to the sound of someone sobbing. It was Celeste. She was crying over your unconscious body, Mr. Cuthbert. Seal with testimonies and added to your notes. I feel like we've completely ruled out Mage Blight, so I doubt that's why you can't remember anything. Are there any spells that can specifically modify or destroy people's memories? It certainly explain a lot of this. No. Arcane spells can only affect the physical world, but throughout history, mages have attempted to develop spells that can affect the mind. There's no recorded history of any of them succeeding. You're assuming that the arcane spells are the only type of magic that exists. What? I think you've observed it already. There are magical creatures in this world that don't use arcane magic. Isn't that right, Mr. Cuthbert? What? Does he know about the Eye of Horus? I'm not sure what you're trying to imply. Don't take me for a fool. Several of my associates attended Frega's trial. They all heard what the demon referred to you as. Heavensborn. I learned that Lumina has anything to do with this. Your Grace, I am not the agent of the theocracy. And even if what you're saying is true, I wasn't the one who manipulated Steelwind's memories. But I suppose you raise a good point. Something affected Steelwind's memories. It wasn't necessarily an arcane spell. In fact, it couldn't have been an arcane spell. It was definitely something else. You're probably right. Which proves that I'm responsible for the murders. What? You just said you don't have any memories of what happened. Are you so convinced that you're responsible for this? I told the Inquisition already. I saw Beatrice before I passed out. She's clearly involved in this somehow. There's more to this than you realize, Mr. Cuthbert. The past few months, the Inquisition and I have been investigating a string of seemingly unrelated murders. In each one of these cases, we were able to apprehend the perpetrator without issue. There's always something off about them during questioning. The murders were always abnormally gruesome and passionate. Even the perpetrators said the same thing. They all said that they had no choice. No choice? Cases like this have been occurring throughout Rivendell. They're able to connect to the perpetrators to each other. All except one thing. Each of them acted as if someone had controlled them against their will. Probably just desperate. Most murderers try to make excuses after they get caught. It could be even just being complete denial. Orm said the same thing. These cases were far too similar for me to ignore. What if they were telling the truth? As each of these murders were committed by an unknown party. I didn't have any concrete evidence. I knew I was getting closer to something. Steelwind, I don't mean to be rude, but this sounds completely insane. I don't have any physical evidence to prove these murders are connected. There's one piece of evidence, but it's hardly concrete. But it does tie each of these cases together. Takes out a small parchment from her pocket and shows it to you. It's a purple symbol. Several of the people that arrested had an item with the symbol on it. None of them could remember where it came from, or even what it was. But they all somehow knew it was called the Purple Mark. There has to be an explanation for this. Could be just some esoteric superstition that we don't know about. If that's true, then ask yourself one thing. Where did I get this parchment from? You don't mean... I found it in my pocket after I was properly confined. Whoever I've been chasing must have left it there to taunt me. For all I know, they could have controlled my body and forced me to draw the symbol myself. Either way, this all but proves the massacre at the cathedral is related to it. Alright, we're adding the purple mark. Arya's fate. I don't want to dismiss what you said, but this definitely won't hold up in court. Nor should it. If my mind has been compromised, I can't take the risk of leaving this dungeon. Otherwise, I could end up harming more people. Wait, are you planning this to spend the rest of your life in prison? That's what is necessary to keep everyone safe. And what about Aster? Weren't you two supposed to be married soon? He's the king now, and you can't rule Wyverngard alongside him from a holding cell. You're correct, but he's always been a remarkable person. You should know, I should have no problem finding another suitress. Feel an overwhelming sadness emanating from her as she says that. Arya. No. What? You're not going to sacrifice everything for someone else's actions. Mr. Cuthbert, I am not going to risk more lives. If I were to hurt His Majesty, I would have never be able to forgive myself. Please don't ask that of me. Steel's going to throw everything she cares about for the greater good. Even if she was the one who did all this, she's not the one who's responsible. You can't let her resign herself to a fate like this. Let's go. It's time for the argument. Steelwind, are you seriously going to throw your life away? If it were necessary, I would give my life for this kingdom. If someone controlled my actions today, they can and will do so again. A villain controlled my mind. As long as that possibility exists, I can't trust myself. As on the issue, if someone else was responsible, that happened, we need to find out who they are. They're still out there. Do you even understand what you're saying? You will lose everything if you let this happen. But that's assuming the person could continue to do so. Don't know how this mind control works. Can't just drop this without finding out what really happened. Okay, that's true. That's assuming this person can continue to do so. You said so yourself. I haven't found any evidence to prove your theory. Don't know how this mind control works. We don't have enough information. Can't just drop this without finding out what really happened. I suppose you're right, but I doubt there was any goal to this. The person responsible was just a sadistic killer. Been investigating these murders for months. Never been able to find any personal clues to who the perpetrator is. There's no way to connect them to this. I read this was a sadistic individual who wanted to cause as much suffering as possible. Okay, we gotta present the Let's see, which one can we offer? Yeah, that's specific. Maybe we'll try Ulrich's? Ooh, that's not true, Steelwind. Whoever did this had the very specific targets in mind. Both Prince Ulrich and the High Speaker saw you when the murders were being committed. Not to mention, they set a trap for Aster. What? Let's assume that someone was controlling you. They wouldn't have left Ulrich, Arceus, or Aster alive if they were trying to kill as many people as possible. I suppose you have a point there. But even so, that hardly narrows things down. If someone was controlling me, they wouldn't need to enter the cathedral to use me. The perpetrator didn't need to enter the cathedral to commit the murders. Perhaps you're right. The perpetrator only wanted to murder the 3 victims. There's plenty of people who might want to see those 3 dead. Plenty of people, huh? See the testimonies. Yeah, he was trapped in a force cage, right? We can actually present this. There's one thing you're overlooking. Before the murder started, someone trapped Aster with a force cage using the glyph of contingency. But they didn't harm him. It's probably just a distraction. Even so, this gives us two very important clues. The first is that whoever did this is capable of casting these two spells. This means that the perpetrator was a mage. That's true, but the second clue is the most important one. Whoever set that trap for Aster, they did it within 24 hours of it triggering. That means the perpetrator must have been someone who attended the funeral. So it was one of them? It narrows down the list of suspects substantially. There's a chance we can identify who did this. That they really did control your actions, and find a way to prevent them from doing so again. Steelwind, you need to fight this. I can't. What? Why not? Fighting this will put people in danger. If we pursue an individual like this, they may retaliate even more than they already have. They wanted to remove me from my position. How will they react if I try to resist? It might hurt even more people to send a message. It's far too dangerous. Appeal. We can't back down from the face of injustice. Let the perpetrator get away with this by letting them know that their actions will go unanswered. Or I doubt someone would go that far. I might decide to lay low and wait for things to die down. Whoever did this had a goal far bigger than you. You have no guarantee they'll stop there. Who will they target next? Their father? The king? Okay, that actually makes sense. 3 nobles died today, and 2 of them were at the top of the political hierarchy. What if they decide to go after more victims? Who will they target next? Their father? The king? We need to catch them before they do more harm. I know you're frightened about what might happen to the people close to you. We can't let someone that dangerous get away with this. When you put it that way, I suppose I have no other choice, do I? Argument 1, yeah, let's go. I never realized before, Mr. Cuthbert. What? You really have a bad habit of butting your nose into other people's business, don't you? You know, like any good anime lawyer. Yeah, I suppose I do. But you're right. We can't let this go. Find a way to dispute this. Somehow. Thank you, Mr. Cuthbert. I think we've known each other long enough. You don't need to be so formal. Successfully argue against Arya Steelwind. Perhaps I misjudged you. I know I agreed to fight this, but what is it? You're the most qualified attorney in the nobility. You'll definitely be able to make a case for yourself. As you probably know, House Sybil controls the legislative and judicial branches of our kingdom. They've nominated my father for the prosecutor for my trial. What? No one believes my theory of mind control. Everyone believes that I overspent my magic and gave myself to Mage Blight. As a result, they blame House Steelwind for Coraline Sybil's death. Now, the only way for him to redeem House Steelwind is to convict me and sentence me to death. But he's your father. There's no way he would... This isn't the first time something like this has happened. When I was a child, my mother accidentally overused her magic and induced Mage Blight within herself. In a resultant psychotic episode, she massacred an entire village of commoners. No. House Steelwind almost lost everything after that. To redeem himself, my father personally oversaw my mother's trial, her execution. That's... Father values his duty to Wyverngard over everything else. Nothing matters more to him than that, not even his family. I want to have confidence in myself, but I don't know if I can face him like this. Mr. Cuthbert, what is your stake in all of this? What? You hate the nobility, don't you? So why are you so intent on helping Miss Steelwind? Because she's innocent. I know she is. She would never be responsible enough to give herself to Mage Blight. Mr. Cuthbert. It doesn't matter if she's a noble or a commoner. She's been oppressed by the system and she deserves a fair trial. Well said. What? I, Remus Virgile, hereby grant you the privilege to serve as Miss Steelwind's counsel. Wait, really? I'll be acting as the judge and arbiter of Miss Steelwind's trial. It's within my right to grant such permissions. Thank you. But why would you... Do you think I've made a mistake? No, of course not. I'll serve as Steelwind's attorney. If she will have me. Of course. There's no one else I would trust more than with this. Please, you've done a lot for me already. You don't have to be so formal. Please call me by my first name. Celeste's already taken to doing that. But since you'll be defending me, you probably need this. Aria's spell company was added to your notes. Firebolt has been added. Old Creature. Steelwind Strike. Polymorph. Dispel Magic. And it's settled. We will hold the trial at my home, City of London. London? I never heard of that place. Speak with the Lucio. He knows the location well. Before you can ask any more questions, the Archduke leaves without a word. He really has a bad habit of just walking away from conversations. But I guess we should consider ourselves lucky. Even if it's unorthodox, the situation will let us approach this like any other trial. You had no idea what you were in for when you agreed to this. What proceeded next will be unlike any trial you've ever been in. But even so, you persevered as you've always done, in the name of justice, regardless of what you'd had to sacrifice to do so. Oh, ho, ho. All right, this is actually getting a bit interesting, but I think this would pretty much be a good place to stop for tonight. Yeah. Well, like I said, this is probably the final case, and yeah, it could be a lot more than one would expect. Yeah, it should be a massive case. So we're going to be at this for quite a while. But yeah, excited to see how we're going to handle the trial. It does say that we're going to have another investigation, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah. Yeah, lots of new characters showed up, and lots of characters that died pretty quickly too. But we're pretty sure that Arya didn't do that. And I have a pretty good feeling that Eris is behind this as well. But yeah, thank you guys as usual for watching either live or via the archives. Tomorrow I'll be checking out Merfight. So this is a indie fighting game that is, you know, very aquatic based. And I've heard from like a number of people, they say that the mechanics and like the combat is pretty interesting for an indie game. You know, I could have actually like went for Tekken 8 with Lydia, or tried multiverses with Samurai Jack and Agent Smith. But we'll keep that for another time. Let's go for something a little different, a little unconventional than the usual fighting games that we usually stream here on the channel. But yeah, hope you all have a great night, evening, or afternoon, wherever you're at. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.